All right. How's it going, Kevin?
Going good, thanks.
I, for some reason, am technologically impaired. I couldn't get my video to work. I don't know why. This would have been so much better with my video, but I guess you don't need to see my face anyway. I wouldn't want to see it. So I want to do a little promo video, just real quick about just kind of this record since I just packaged the thing up and she's kind of ready to go.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah, I gotta send you the rest of the record so you can listen through in its complete form. But so yeah, I mean, are you excited for this release?
Yeah, I am. I think it's going to be fun to hear the final release, and it will be fun to see what people think. It's been a lot of fun working on it.
It has been. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. It's the first time I think in my life I've been able to express myself musically with other people and have them kind of um share the dream a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like feel what I'm going for. Um
yeah. And it's been fun for me too to let you write all the stuff and just me layer over the top of it. And that's something that I don't get to do very often because I usually write all my own material unless I'm playing covers. But yeah, it's been fun that way.
Going forward, I mean, because I mean, not to give away anything, but I definitely hope to do more of this in the future because this was a lot of fun. You are welcome to write stuff, and I'll play to it too if you'd like. So
But you seem to know all the drummers, so
I do seem to know all the drummers. Why do I know all the drummers? I that's my joke now is I probably know the drummer of your band. That's just if it's like, hey, I know your drummer. But anyway, so what are your thoughts on the songs? I mean, the vibe, the overall vibe that we've kind of been going for.
yeah, that vibe, it seems to be a very blues rock sort of vibe, and I'm really comfortable in that. That's it reminds me of a lot of the stuff I used to do when I was in hippie clips, so that's been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, blues rock has always been. I mean, I come from the South. Blues is definitely a huge influence and always has been. So you factor in my more recent bands that I got into when I was around 11 or 12, like the Doors and Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, like your shirt. You start to get that hard rock, blues rock vibe that's just so ingrained in how I think that that's just kind of, the only
Yeah.
thing I could do. I try to do other stuff, it don't work. So blues rock is kind of the way to go. I was gonna say, wow, I'm drawing a complete brain fart. With the recording process, we kind of made this whole thing over like just remotely. Like how has this been? You being a seasoned musician dating back all the way to the 80s, and recording traditionally, how is this different? I mean, than anything else you've done in the past?
Well, doing it all at home, of course, is different. I have some gear here that I've been leveraging, and but I've been doing, actually, when I think about it, I'm doing a lot of home recording over the years. What I like to do, especially, is go into when I'm doing my own material, I'll go into a studio and basically do what you did, put some basic tracks down and with a drum and try to get a bass in there, and then just put stuff over the top of it. So I'm very comfortable with the way we've been working. And doing it at home, it gives me the leeway to take my time and do it when I'm feeling inspired.
Hmm.
It
Yeah,
doesn't always happen when you're paying the money to record it. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes it's the luck of the draw, or something can happen. It could be a bad time for you, or this or that, whatever. But yeah,
yeah.
it's been
No,
fun.
what? Sorry, what? We did anyway, we did a really long track. How was that? I mean, when I said, hey, I want to do like a Cream or like, I don't know, like something Roger Daltrey's, that kind of esque long rock, hard rock song, like what'd you think of that?
Well, that was pretty fun. I tried to take it in sections,
Hmm.
to work with the variations of the theme that you were providing. And I tend to overanalyze a little bit sometimes. And so when I finally decided I got to get this done, I decided just to roll the tracks and just play until I started to screw up, and then stop and start again. So
So it's in. So you recorded in pieces. You didn't record that straightforward.
I think I ended up recording that in probably two pieces.
Wow, it sounds live. I mean, it sounds straight up live.
Yeah, I was taking it, bit by bit and thinking, oh, I need to do this and this, and trying to figure out. Then I was thinking, you know what? It's kind of turning into a real chore here, and I'm losing focus. Saying that sometimes it's the best thing for me to do is just go for it. And for me, it's usually the first take is usually the one that I keep.
Me too,
And,
actually. Weirdly
yeah.
enough, that was a song, when I first got it, I didn't listen to it initially. I listened to pieces of it because I was really busy. So like it was like the second day after I got it that I actually sat down and listened. And I got into it. I forgot it was a song that I partly wrote and was so into your guitar playing. It was just absolutely jamming. And then and I was so into it that because I was on a hammock and just kind of chilling, and it circled back into my own voice because I had my voice and was like, crap, this it's not this kills it. It was good until I came in. That I just remembered like, oh yeah, this is kind of me on bass and me doing some stuff here. But I was gonna say this is a question I've always wondered. Through this whole, I think because I don't know if you know, I had a show for a while and that's how I met like Dave and a lot of people. But I never really realized that the musical people that I've worked with the most are all part of the Seattle scene for the most part. And I didn't do that purposely. Like I love the Seattle scene, but it's not like my obsession. I love a lot of scenes. It just so happened that everyone I knew was connected, and I started to meet people in that scene. And of course, I was a huge fan of all of your bands. But as a growing up, I told you I wrote a report on Malfunction at one point. So like it just happened that way. But what do you think of all these people from your past that you practically started that scene? I mean, what do you think of all that coming together in, like, from my perception, from a 19-year-old random kid that just said, hey, guess what, is it weird?
I don't know. I think it's an awesome coincidence if that's what it is. I really hadn't thought that through. But yeah, sure enough, it is kind of a Seattle revival piece here that we
Yeah,
put together, and I think that's great. I think maybe it just tell you something about the people in Seattle and how cool they are that they're
really
willing
are.
to throw in without hesitation. It's pretty
That's
cool.
what amazed me the most is like really what started this whole thing is I'd been working with Dave. I met him through another guy, another musician that was a friend of someone I know around here. So kind of that's how it all started. And he just asked if you want to make music with me, and I said sure. And I think he knew you, and I was like, oh, Kevin Wood, that dude's awesome. And from there, you came along, and then somebody knew Chad Channing, and somebody knew Tad Doyle, and somebody knew all these different people, and it just kind of, that's
Hmm.
how it worked. And it wasn't, I forget who told me, but sounds like you've got the whole Seattle scene kind of. I mean, I know some of the guys from Candlebox, and I know some of the, and it's like, how did it, was that by design? And I said no, it just, that was the scene that I mean, obviously I was interested in, but it just worked out that way.
Yeah,
It was a one in a million shot.
pretty cool. Yeah, there was a time when I wanted to have Dave in one of my bands, and I approached him about that. Of course, he was busy at the time with something else, but I've always admired his playing. And then Chad, of course, he's an old friend, and then Tad, legendary.
Tad is
Well,
legendary. Absolutely.
it's yeah, it's all just. And the Candlebox guys too. I remember
Mhm.
gigging with those guys in the '90s.
They love you. They absolutely love you, which is the coolest thing because I did you know that Far Behind is about your brother?
Oh yeah, I did. I didn't know that until maybe a few years ago. But
Yeah,
that is
same.
pretty amazing tribute, and I really appreciate that sentiment.
Um, That's another thing. I mean, I really feel like your brother is like Chris Cornell in the sense that everybody who has ever talked about him just has something incredible to say and has like this special relationship with him. Because like I think I did an interview with Chad Channing, was like the first time I really talked to him on my podcast, and for whatever reason I just wanted to ask questions about Andy because Andy is absolutely obviously one of my heroes, and so I knew he knew him and was like, so so he just went on about this encounter he had with him eating I believe it was gummy worms, and he had this whole funny story about how he and Andy were sitting on a curb outside of some store eating gummy worms, and just I thought it was the coolest story. And it was like, it's the same thing when people talk about Chris. It's just like how he was the nicest dude and everyone really loved him. So it's just kind of cool to see. It's like, I feel like nowadays, maybe it's a modern thing or maybe just regional, like where I live, people aren't like that. There isn't one person that everybody loves. There's someone that someone's talking crap about, someone hates them. There's not this just communal, like that's your scene. It was so communal. Everyone just
Mhm.
loved and respected. And that's something that it's still there. I was just immersed into it. And literally in a year, I went from like just having this whole connection of really supportive, cool people that always want to hear my music. And even if they don't want to plan it, they want to tell me how to fix it or tell me what's great about it. And it's so like, wow, this whole scene is just so nice. Like, we don't have to agree on things like politics or bigger pictures, but when it comes down to it, like everyone is so just don't really care. They just want to see another guy succeed in their own right, in their own happiness. And it's very cool to see.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. That's the way it should be,
It
right?
is the way it should be. It really is. Why isn't it like that anymore?
Hmm.
What's up with that?
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know. You know,
but
I think people get caught up in clamoring and trying to
mhm.
get noticed, and they don't think about the big picture that, giving is part of receiving and
Oh yeah.
all of that.